What is going on, everybody? Good to hear from you all. Bobby Fi here, waiting for Sheets, and we are going to be talking through the show. Please like and subscribe and all that stuff. Good to see my man Kevin Wise and K9 Bronco in the chat, guys. Say what's up when you get on in. Say any thoughts you have on the slate. We're going to be talking some MLB and NBA, and would love to go over both. I think that it's going to be a pretty easy. It's not a huge slate or anything, so we don't have to worry too much about it. I did post something, and by the way, we're gonna try and do it for the first 5 people. We'll go over their lineups, but we're gonna do a sort of a roundtable chat with me and Rody once a week, just going through. It'll be a lineup review / coaching sort of session, and it's always good for us too. Like, I mean, you guys have a lot of really good ideas. We've got some really smart minds that are members of the site, and it's going to be a really good thing. I think it's something different. That's like a different offering than what everybody else is offering out there. If you guys aren't a member already of TrueDFS, since our partnership with SaberSim, things are really taking off. We're really adding a lot of stuff. We're charging just a fraction more than SaberSim, so we're basically charging near the same amount. I think it's like $5 more, and you get all of my plays of the day, all my bets of the day, all my early lineup builds, which tend to translate to being my late lineup builds. A few of those have won the big tournaments lately, or in the last couple months, and I think it's really worth it. So I would really encourage you guys to check it out. If you haven't already, we've got our plan pricing up there. As you can see, it's basically very similar to SaberSim, or you could just do the R package if you don't want to use all the projections and all that. Also, Sheets is projections, which I find to be the best in the industry, along with SaberSim's. They're a little different, but I do think that in terms of winning tournaments, they are really awesome. Also, jump in our Discord if you haven't already. If anybody needs the link, I'm happy to send it. With all that out of the way, we can get to the sports. What's up to my man Nick Nelson in chat? And I just want to encourage all you guys to do that, because we're starting to fill up on some of these the roundtable discussions. I think it'd be really great. So just make sure to send me a direct message on our Discord, and I will get you guys signed up. We're going to have a sign up sheet, and we'll be doing it weekly. But and hopefully Sheets will join us as he pops on the show right now.
Yeah, tell me more about that.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing a lineup review / coaching session once a week, and I didn't want to commit to everybody else's time that I couldn't, and we're thinking Wednesdays for right now, but it's still up in the air as of what time and everything like that. I'm trying to see what works for people. We've already got a lot of interest from people.
Would it be like during the day?
No, it would have to be in the evening, no matter what. So I didn't put you down, but if you occasionally want to jump on, I'm sure everybody would love it. So it would be great to get everybody's point of view. But these things are really good. And just for anybody else out there, just before we get into all the sports, I've coached hundreds of people in my past. I've done it, one-on-one sessions. I've done it with groups,
including me,
including Sheets, by the way. And I'll take the victory lap on that one, because this guy's just a DFS monster now. But I mean, many multiple millionaire winners, guys who have literally become professional DFS players from guys who are playing a couple hundred a week. So I think these sessions are really valuable. And there's a lot of ways you can interpret a lot of things that I say, that Rody says, that Sheets says, and that you might even have more success than us with it. It's just because you have the right ideas doesn't mean you're always going to be the best at it anyway. It's just a very valuable thing, and we're doing it for free, and we would love to use to start it off with you guys. So we're excited about that. K9, I love doing that session with you as well, buddy. And again, it really is great to do it with sharp minds like K9. We did one with Adam Perry, and he's going to join us for this one as well. These guys have things to offer as well as things to look back on. We're not always going to be the ones who know every single thing. You might have some ideas that open us up to some other ideas as well. This game is not have a direct, hey, this is the ABC, this is the right way to play DFS. There's many different ways you can do this effectively. And it all starts with your process. Anyway, with that out of the way, Sheets, you ready to talk a little baseball and NBA? I think we'll start with baseball, or do you want to start with NBA? What do you want to do?
Almost. I did so well to get all these projections updated, and I'm just finishing uploading them. It's going to take me literally, I'm like kind of like delaying even finishing the sentence, because it's going to take only like about 30 more seconds, and then I'll be fully ready to talk through it. So this is like literally the last sentence, and it is now, just so everybody knows, all of the sheets are now updated. Okay.
Awesome. Well, we just got a piece of news that BBF pointed out in chat. And, no, it's important though. It's a good thing for those of us who love the Dodgers. You get Edwin Rios down at the bottom of the order, batting 8th at 2,100, and that dude has some serious power. A guy I'm always going to take shots on in my mini stacks, and not to give away exactly everything that I'm doing, but my main things are going to be the Dodgers, Phillies, I know that's going to be chalky. I'm going to have to do it in weird ways in the bottom of the order and all that stuff. And I like them a little less than I did earlier. And I've gotten on to much more Houston with pieces of San Diego and Milwaukee sort of all over the place. I know that's a number of different names, but for multiple lineups, that's how I'm doing it.
So I'm a little behind. I just updated my numbers and stuff, and I just want to share some revelations. I'm just staring at this for the first time in a while, and Montas is really popping, and which is why I have him, by the way, now at about 50% ownership.
It'll be higher than the big ones, yeah.
In the big ones, it'll be higher than that, and I still have Manaea higher than Kershaw. I have him at about 30%. Manaea, Kershaw like 20. Lauer went down a little bit. I have him on more like 15, 16. And then I have McClanahan kind of a healthy between 15 and 20. The one guy that is just showing up, is just so you know, is kind of like a one-off. There's a 2K first baseman on Oakland.
Yeah, Bethancourt.
Yeah, Bethancourt. I just figured I would just throw that up there. Like if I was just gazing at this, so let's just, again, we talk about construction, right? So if I were going to play Montas, for example, whether it be Montas with Manaea or Montas with Kershaw or Montas with, any of the Lauer or McClanahan, I would be looking for a stack that is not Philly, right? One thing that I did see, by the way, that's different now than it was when I first did the numbers is I actually have Colorado much closer to Philly than they were. I don't know why that is, but that's just the way it is. And I'll tell you something else. There's I guess it's because the Bethancourt is cheap that these Oaklands, become good values too. But my point is that I don't think the difference. Yeah, it is. I was about to say that there's in Philly and the rest isn't as much as I thought. But when I do it by raw, it still is. It's still rough. But yeah, the Dodgers are second, definitely from where I'm standing, kind of a decent second. What about Houston? Can I talk you into that?
I just said that was my other one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Those are my three main ones: the Dodgers, Houston, and the Phillies. Now, and it's going to be interesting to see what the ownership ends up on some of the bottom of the Phillies order, because they do have. It's not the lineup we were expecting. Alec Baum is back in the mix. He sort of looked like he lost his job out, but I guess he's going to get occasional starts. But this Bryson Stott is like a top prospect they have, who's batting 8th, but he's 4,200. Vierling batting 9th is 27. And it'll be interesting to see where these guys come in terms of ownership. Because I do think they're all going to be owned, obviously, but I do think if you get the 6, 7, 8, 9 or the 7, 8, 9, 1 or something like that for Philly, I think you're just going to get a much, much lower owned version of the stack. I don't have Colorado as viable to me personally. Sure, there's some individual bats that are fine. I'm elite level pitchers against right-handed lineups. Like just the more I look at it, the more I feel like I might even want to get more Nola. Because what are they playing? 3 lefties against him? I mean, that's a recipe for disaster. He has the highest strikeout rate on the slate. He's the highest fantasy producer of all the pitchers on the slate. And because he's pitching in Colorado, he's going to end up like 5% owned. That just seems like too much for me to pass on. Whether or not I have to do it in my big buy-in, I don't know, because that's, a smaller field. I really also like McClanahan. And I think that if you play, I think I might play some lineups with those two together. I do think Manaea, I like him even better than I did to start today by a lot, because they did end up, in fact, putting the 4 lefties in the lineup against him, which is basically a recipe for disaster a little bit. Although historically he's actually given up some power to lefties. So it's kind of depends on, I guess who you're talking to. But I definitely want to get some exposure. My main pitchers are going to be, it's going to be Montas for me. I'll eat the chalk on DraftKings, but not everywhere. He'll be in probably half my lineups, which I think will put me just slightly below the field, but he'll probably end up my biggest buy-in. And I will play, like I said, I'm going to mix in Nola. I'm going to play some Manaea, but I'll be below the field. I'm going to be above the field on McClanahan, and I'm going to probably end up right near the field on Kershaw. That's where I stand with my pitching. And that's pretty much all the pitchers I'm using. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else I have any of. I don't think there is. Where do you stand? So you mentioned the one-off that's cheap, the Bethancourt. Is there any other power guys? Is there anybody who's spending up on maybe as a one-off?
No, I didn't. Right now, I'm kind of like spending up for my stack, sort of. Like I'm working on this Houston thing right now. and like I want to get some exposure to that Philly game, sort of, but because maybe I'll take like a Segura or something like that, hitting seventh.
Mhm.
That's not bad. You know, it's really cheap, by the way. At first base is Tellez from Milwaukee.
Yeah, I have a lot of Tellez. I actually did the in one of my 555s to give it away a little bit. I did my thing. I did my weird little. I'll play Tellez and Narvaez together in the same
I
lineup,
have, yeah.
and I just think it's a good way to get a little, and then you save all the money and you can do whatever you want elsewhere. And I don't think you're going to find that many dupes of that exact combination.
Yeah,
Even though you'll see plenty of Tellez. um,
yeah.
All right, and you know, a question coming in from what was the question I just saw before? Oh, is Lauer from K9? Is Lauer good? Is Lauer a good play on FanDuel at 7,100? I think Lauer is fine. I personally would rather play Luis Garcia than I would Lauer, especially with the lineup the Angels. By the way, Rendon was scratched. He was one of my one-off guys.
Ooh, that's actually interesting.
Yeah, so you have no Rendon, you have no Trout. And you've got Garcia, who, yeah, sometimes Houston pulls their pitchers quickly. I'm more than willing to take that chance. And I'm just taking a look at my FanDuel ownership projections. Luis Garcia is just, I don't buy the ownership, though. I can't believe he would be significantly lower or any lower than Lauer. I personally like Garcia better. I think Lauer is a good, don't get me wrong, I think Lauer is a good play. I just like Garcia, but part of my reason for liking Garcia was that I thought we were going to get lower ownership. And with them similar, I would rate them similarly. So if I was playing 10 lineups and I wanted to play 20% or 100 lineups, I want to play 20% Garcia, and I would probably end up with similar amounts of Garcia and Lauer. If I'm only playing 2 lineups, I would just side with Garcia over Lauer personally. But I do think Lauer is completely fine.
Yeah, my ownership's a little screwy on maybe not on. I don't have Lauer getting much ownership at all on FanDuel. I have him at about 10%.
What do you have for Garcia?
I like nothing. I'm like 5.
Interesting. I mean,
I have Montas at 22. I have Manet at 17. Like
what do you have for Garcia? Oh, sorry about that. Wait, say that one more time, Shoots.
I have Montas at 22. I have Manaya at 17. I have McClanahan at 13. I have Kershaw at like 9. I mean, I have it spread out pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's I don't know if it'll end up as spread out as it looks. I do like Manaya. For what it's worth, I'm using Manaya and Garcia as my main guys on FanDuel. I have no problem if you want to play Kershaw or any of the other 5 guys I mentioned. I do think those 5 pitchers I have rated fairly similarly. It feels kind of like Kershaw is sort of trending away from where I just haven't heard people everybody sort of like talking about not playing him. Are they
right.
if that ends up happening, like
I stand by my comment before is that I think you should play him because I do think that his ownership is going to be more slanted towards the weaker players, the people that just play name value. I don't think that the stronger players are going to play him.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm. You know, I sort of like as a hero play SP2 is, even though I like the San Diego mini stack for sure, I think that your guy who we mentioned earlier, Lodolo, I just think that's it's a good get weird play, right? Like if you want to play somebody low with Montas, you can play he or Hendricks, and I think both of those guys come in really low owned, and then you've already differentiated yourself at least somewhat to where even if you played a chalky stack, you're probably okay to get away with it, and you can afford the really expensive Phillies if you wanted to go that route with a cheap other guy. I don't know, man. It's this is the most I've been on a Coors situation in a long time. Like,
yeah. So are we really doing this Nova thing in big ones?
I don't know. My one big one on DraftKings currently doesn't have NOLA, but all of my my 250, my 121, all those ones do. I don't know where I'm going to end up deciding on it because we had the Dodger lineup come out right as I was coming on. So with Rios, maybe that gives me some extra room to do some different things with my SP 1 and 2 in my big one.
Well, to answer Kanon, because I didn't look at FanDuel, let me just take a look not even quick. I got time. Yeah, so I do have Lauer and Montas, Manaya, Garcia. I have them all pretty. I mean, they're all decent plays. And Kershaw too. So I'm with you, Bobby. Luis Garcia is I don't think you need to save the money, but
right.
Well,
that's the only issue I was running into.
Yeah.
But would it surprise me if he's one of the top 3 scoring pitchers on the slate? Not even a little bit. Like,
right.
I think he absolutely has that in him. I mean, remember we saw him. We saw this guy get it to like 10K last year at one point because he was just every time it was 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, 1 run. You know what I mean? And I'll take that. Yeah, everybody's saying about the golf. There's no good golf for a little bit, guys. We're just gonna have to suck it up. And by the way, how does Ryan Palmer do it? So do you know who Ryan Palmer's last 3 teammates have been in this thing?
Oh, he picks his teammates good, huh?
It's he's got Scheffler this year. He had Rahm last year, and I believe the year before it was whoever was number 1 at the time. It might have been Spieth. But it's just wild that he somehow they must all love Arnold Palmer. Must be a great guy then. That's what I took from that. It's funny because all the golfers were razzing him today. I've gotten so into golf. I actually like following all these guys on Twitter now, and I'm like I feel like I'm like into the whole culture thing now, which I used to just not care at all about.
Nice.
All right, we can transition over to some NBA talk because.
Well, before we do that, let me just at least I'll tell you my exposures in baseball before we leave this. I am getting I'm getting probably too much Philly. Honestly, I'm getting like almost 40% Philly. But you know what I'm getting? It's kind of for fun. I'm getting some Reds, which is interesting. I have Houston probably going to be my big one, but like none of my small ones. And then I have a little bit of Baltimore just for fun, a little bit of Tampa just for fun, but nothing. I'm not as kind of kooky off the wall as I have been so far. Now, with respect to FanDuel, I just kind of ran stuff right now, and I'm gonna have. Man, this is way too much Lauer. I'm probably gonna have to trim a little bit of this. And then as far as stacks go over there, Milwaukee, Philly. I mean, it's just such a chalk donkey over there. Yeah. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna build my MME ones, and I'm gonna go back and do my big ones, and then we can talk about NBA. You can start talking about NBA as I fill this in.
Sounds good. Yeah, I will. I'm just double checking that I got my stacks. Yeah. So I just basically made like a little pivot because I had to get I had Chris Taylor he was going to be I wanted the low owned Dodger. So I played Chris Taylor in my main lineup, and I don't need to do that anymore because he's not playing. So, all right, I'll transition over to NBA. Let's go. Where is my builds here? Okay. So where are my builds? Oh, they're there. I really don't think there's any part of me that's going to fade Brunson or Dinwiddie in any lineup. I just think it's too sure of a thing. Sure, could they end up only putting up 30? It's certainly possible. I don't see other people in their range that really are going to get me want to get me off that. The thing I keep coming back to with these guys out for the Raptors is what are they going to do? Are they going to give Watanabe some run? Are they going to let Malachi Flynn play? Or are they just going to cut it down to a 7-man rotation, which is going to make Thaddeus Young a phenomenal play? Or Khem Birch a good play? Because I keep trying to wonder how they're going to try and do this with Embiid. And with Precious, Khem Birch, and Boucher, I don't think they're going to want to have Boucher guarding Embiid much. Likely one of those other guys gets in foul trouble, which means it's either Thad Young or one of those other guys who gets the run. And Thad Young is becoming an interesting value-saving options that I literally didn't think was going to play any minutes to start the day. But then no Gary Trent and no Scotty Barnes does change things quite a bit for their overall lineup. The other guys who are in my main builds, sadly, I do have some builds with Reggie Bullock. It's hard to not play a guy who's going to play 40 plus minutes. Like if a guy's going to play 40 plus minutes, if he's 4,800 even, and I need to save value. So he's one that I'm probably going to try to get out, but I do have some of him right now, in all honesty. I'm not getting much of the last game outside of an occasional Jokic, and I do like Jordan Poole on FanDuel. But I'm going to play James Harden.
Ooh,
I'm going to Fred VanVleet. And this way I get my guard. So like I might have a chalky-ish type of players. But if I play all of VanVleet, Dinwiddie, Brunson, and Harden, at least I know I locked up that section in you know what I mean? Somebody else have to have that exact build if my guys do their job or what I'm hoping from them. and you use all your guard spots. That's what I'm going to do. That's my current plan right now anyway. I'm looking at, I think Harden is actually like, I just think he's a really, 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 really good play that people are not playing enough of. And I think both he and Van Fleet should be closer to 50%. But because people want to play Embiid and Jokic, which for good reason, it's just not going to work out that way. I think you're going to see a lot of doubles on Embiid from Toronto. And I think that's going to end up giving Harden playing like a 4-on-3 type of offense where he's going to end up with 15 assists again. And whatever he does from a scoring perspective, I don't want to say it's a bonus, but if he scores 25 real life points, I expect him to have 50 fantasy points, basically. Say what's up to Dunbar, by the way, out there. Oh, I do like Draymond. I forgot to mention him. I do like Draymond. He would be my favorite of the Warriors on DraftKings. I just didn't get him into my current builds, but I certainly am open to changing that. That's just what I've got right now. I'm starting to wonder more and more, and I'm surprised he didn't in the first game, but what if they do let Kem Birch go a few more minutes tonight on Joel Embiid? I just can't see them putting Boucher on him for long. Like, it just will never, ever work. I don't know. So I'm trying, that's what I'm sort of struggling with, is what weird value guy can I maybe get my 6 or 7X out of that I can get at no ownership? And you might end up having some ownership on Thad Young by the time it's all said and done. But at the moment, I don't have Thad Young or Kem Birch for any ownership. So I'm sort of speculating with those guys and trying to figure out what I can do there.
You play any Royce O'Neal?
Royce O'Neal, I have in my initial build. Yeah. In my first build, not my current big build, but my first build he's in. It's another one of those minutes things though. Like one of he or Clarkson is going to end up on the court depending on the game flow, kind of. Probably him.
You need the defense versus the offense, you mean?
Yeah. I have this weird feeling Dallas wins tonight. I put my bets up, by the way. I don't feel great about any of my bets today. I felt great about the play-in bets, and I got every one of them right. We went 8-0 got all the unders and every game hit the under. And then every team I got the winner. So that was a really nice one. My friend just started following us, and he thinks all of a sudden like I'm some sort of a god or something because he just made a fortune on a parlay with that. But anyway, Dunbar says,
"Is this that same guy with the hit that big parlay?"
No. This is like a small playing friend who just 10x'd his whole bankroll for the year on the play-in games.
Oh my god!
He just nailed it. Anyway, he took the same.
Dunbar had a question.
Dunbar said the projections aren't popping up for FanDuel.
Can I tell you? I talked to Mark.
I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm just translating what's happening in the chat here.
All right.
That shouldn't be happening. I'm not sure why that's happening, but let me see.
I'll upload it again. Hold on, let's see what happens.
I'll take a quick look and see if I can see yours on FanDuel.
I'm sure that if you can't see him, that he can't see him.
Yeah, Dunbar's pretty good about it. I just want to double check that there's not something that I can see what's happening.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm much more excited, by the way, about tomorrow's NBA slate than I am about tonight's NBA slate. It just, I don't know. It feels a little. It just feels really, really hard to try to find an angle to get different. I think that tomorrow's will be a little bit more. We'll have some options. That's just my first thought.
One more time. I'll do it again. But let's see.
I have your projections up here.
Oh, okay. So then I don't know then Mr. Dunbar is.
So Dunbar, yeah, just the True DFS projections they're up there on SaberSim anyway.
Are they not in the main?
Oh, you could see them on SaberSim. It just wasn't on the site, I guess. Apparently.
And now it's still not. That's like an Evan thing because I just did
Yeah. So we'll straighten that out, guys. With some of the new traffic and some of the stuff we've been doing, where there's going to be little hiccups here and there, and I really appreciate you guys just hanging in there with us while we try and accommodate.
No, but this should have been handled.
Yeah, it could just be a slip up. I'll text Evan or whatever afterwards.
Yeah, and I'm gonna just reset it right now. Okay. So we'll say NBA. No, they're all up.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they're on both. They're both places.
Great.
If you want me to.
No, that's great.
I'll show you if you want.
No. I think we're okay. Sheets, what are you looking at for NBA? How do you get different on these 3 gamers? What kind of plays do you make for your 20 max things? Give us some ideas.
Stupid plays. I make stupid plays like Aaron Gordon. Make
See,
plays
okay,
like
now that makes sense though. I can get like
Monty Morris.
Monty
Guys
Morris.
like Will
like
Barton. I have 10% Bones Highland just for no reason.
Yeah. One other one that you could throw in as a cheap one that I would get into some mixes if I was playing a bunch of lineups would be Jeff Green.
Yeah, Jeff Green. I'm getting. I was getting a bunch of Danny Green, but I X'd him out because I don't feel like playing him.
Now he's gonna do that thing I got to test again where he scores 68 fantasy points.
And I'm getting a decent amount of Dorian Finney-Smith. I have no problem playing him for some reason.
Because I think the minutes and the production is like always right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't need 40 from him. You know?
Yeah, you don't need that. If you look at it that way, then you can go that way. It's just the only problem is one of the Bartons or somebody like that probably ends up in that range too.
I don't know about that.
I think somebody else in that 5, like whether it's Barton and a newbie, just one of those guys, or Gordon, or maybe not 40, maybe 35. Draymond is.
Let's see. What does it look like? What does it look like if I don't play Dorian Finney-Smith? They got to play somebody, right? There's got to play some value. If I didn't play him,
he's not even that value though. He's
no, I know. Then I get all this Bullock. Actually, yeah. Isn't that bad? No, they give me that now. Now I'm back to Bojan.
Yeah. I will say for very, very large field tournaments, I would mix in quite a bit of Bertans. It's hunchy, it's weird, but I'll take a 3,700 guy who's going to play 20 some odd minutes and who can shoot against a team that I really think the way you try to beat the Jazz in the postseason is you do what the Clippers did, especially if you're outmanned, which means going small, and it means probably Kleber or Bertans to me. Not to mention if any of Bullock, Finney-Smith, Brunson, or Dinwiddie get into foul trouble, I think Bertans is going to be in there pretty quickly. I only have them projected to play 8 guys tonight for what it's worth in Dallas. And I would take some shots with Bertans for sure. It doesn't feel great saying that out loud, but it's just you're trying to find a way to get different. So the ones that don't feel great are usually the ones that win you the tournaments.
That's right. That's right.
It's the way it goes. All right, guys, pop in any more QQs or thoughts. I'm probably going to leave in like 15 so I can get my final builds done.
What are you doing with Boucher?
Playing some of them. I definitely prefer Precious as like a better average, but I think Boucher there's a massive ceiling there. I feel very mixed on what to do with him, to be honest with you. And I could see it becoming the Thad Young show. I feel much safer with Precious. We still don't have a starting lineup, by the way, so that might change things. If they do something really weird to start, like what if they start Thad Young and bring Precious off the bench? I could see them doing that actually, which would make Precious's ownership go down. I would love to play Precious in that if that was the case. And the other guy who I wasn't getting to earlier, who I'm thinking this was my Harden argument. Okay, what about Harden versus Siakam? I like both of them. Maybe and I'm not spending all the way up for anybody in my main lineup. So I really think maybe getting something like that is a viable route to go to play like a Harden Siakam with the Dallas guys, try to squeeze in your other 5Ks and your values. Because Siakam has the ceiling to get there, and so does Harden. And you could get 60 out of those guys, and then you're free and clear, man. Like you're crushing. And I know they're going to have some ownership, but I don't think most people are building around those 2 guys as their top spend ups.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you playing on FanDuel
NBA? Yes, I am. So on FanDuel, it's a little different. Jordan Poole is the guy who I'm way higher on FanDuel than I am on DraftKings. I even have a little bit of Otto Porter where I needed him, but I don't think I'm going to end up. It's just really hard not to be tempted into doing what we want to do and play Embiid and Jokic together.
Yeah.
It's like the first time we've ever had a chance to in our lives on FanDuel. How are we supposed to pass on it? Plus the tournament, you're only having to beat 100 people or so. So anyway, that's where I'm at on that thing. But guys, remember to please do the DMs and we'll do the lineup review thing. I think it's really, really helpful. I don't know any player in DFS that can't get better. It's the same thing with poker. Like look at the guys who study the most are the people who are like the guys who make the most often study the most these days in poker. I mean, I'm not saying this was always the case, but I mean, you look at guys like Doug Polk and everything like that. I mean, these guys are working on their games all the freaking time.
Yep.
And that's what we should be doing with DFS and continue to try and get better, and also to continue help people who are at the beginning stages really learn how to line up, build, what kind of tournaments to enter, how you can maybe get different with your stacks. One of my favorite things with stacks in baseball that I really have always tried to do is I love when you get the one gappers together. It's like a weird thing.
Right.
It's not entirely just totally logical, but it somewhat is, like, especially if you have a high walk player in between. And often, like for the Dodgers, you have Muncy who's batting fourth, who just walks a ton. So get a 1-3-5-7, maybe skip Muncy, hope he gets your 3 walks and maybe scores a run. It's not the score you want from him and those 8 points, but if you can get the guys around him who are going to be driving him in and setting him, whatever, I think that's a really good way to go. All right. I'm seeing if there's anything else here. My early builds, for what it's worth, guys, are fairly similar, just with the difference of the starting lineups being the only thing. So just for those of you who do look at the early builds, I think they're really valuable. And again, I'm not saying you should do the exact same thing I'm doing. I'm saying, I mean, had you would have won a few tournaments in the end of the NBA season, but I think you could just sort of see what my brain is thinking. And if you have any questions about it, I'm always here to answer those questions. So, all right, we have a little, it's interesting because the basketball, because there's so much speculation, as much as it's a wild, crazy thought fest and everything like that in the chat. With baseball, it's sort of like, okay, well, I'm sticking with this and I'm going with this. And it's not as much to talk about, so people don't have as many questions or as many things that come up.
Well, so the deal with the with Toronto is whether Thad Young starts? Is that the story?
I just don't. I mean, I think we have a projected. We know we're obviously projecting that it's going to be Precious, but they don't have to do that. And they did just get crushed. They're missing 2 of their guys. Why wouldn't they try something a little bit different? Just food for thought.
Yeah.
But like you might see a guy like Watanabe getting like something weird like that. In that case, I'm not saying I wouldn't have some shares of guys like that, but I would probably be looking to try and play the guys off the bench who we thought were going to start at lower ownership, if that's the case.
And what about OG Anunoby?
Yeah, I like him. I think he's a pretty obvious, he should be a pretty high owned play.
Yeah.
I really think he benefits without Barnes, especially, but Trent too. And I think Van Vliet is that's what I'm doing. I mean, I ended up stacking these 2 games, and it's hard to find the guys from Utah you really, really want to play. So Mitchell or Gobert tend to be the default for me. I don't mind the Royce O'Neal thing though. The Royce O'Neal, let's just talk about it real quick, because even if he gets you just like 16 or 17 and you're playing one other cheap guy too, that's fine. You don't need the ceilings. We don't need the 6-7x from our 3,800, or like we did at the end of the season where you needed 10x from your 3,800 guys. You just need him to get there. And yeah, while it may not be that uplifting to look at his game log, just know he'll be out there for minutes, and he can accidentally squeak his way into 25 fantasy points, and he can accidentally go much higher than that. We've seen it many times before. It's a little harder for him now than it used to be, because a lot of the season, when Bogdanovich was out or Gobert was out for part of the season, he was, he actually had some like 35 plus fantasy point games, and that's not what I'm expecting. But if he gets me 20, I'll be happy with it. Oh, thanks. So K9 says he likes the earlier builds, see what teams like to stack. Yeah, no, it's great. And then I think I do think that for basketball, sometimes it's interesting to try to like get the correlations right and stuff like that. Iggy is doubtful. I don't think that has any effect on anything. I think I had him as out, didn't I? No, I had him as possibly playing. Maybe a little boost to Porter. Just makes you feel a little better if you want to play a little bit of Porter. Yeah.
How's Aaron Gordon been doing recently?
He's Aaron Gordon.
So from time to time, he'll put up a good game.
He had a good end of the regular season. He was on fire there for a bit. He had 14 fantasy points in the first game against Golden State. So that was not
have an auspicious beginning to this series.
No. But he started when he's making threes, he tends to do everything else pretty well too. When he's not, he doesn't. And I tend to like to use him against teams that turn the ball over a lot because that's one way he can sort of squeak his way there. This is not exactly that ideal situation.
I don't know if I want to go back to the Bogdanovich.
Yeah, I personally am not, but I certainly don't mind it. Like, I'm just not personally doing it. Let's do this. I'm going to see what happens if we play Thad Young.
See what happened. And would it bother you playing Boucher and Precious together?
No, I think you can get away with it tonight. I'm going to be really mad at myself though if Kem. Well, I'm going to have him in something, but just have this feeling about Kem Birch that they could end up leaving him out there longer. I mean, they gave up 131 points. They're a good defensive team. Maybe it's time to, Boucher is obviously not a great defender. Precious is a good defender. I don't know. I'm interested in this.
Who do you like more, Porter or Bullock?
Porter or Bullock?
If you're already going to play like Brunson and Dinwiddie.
I think Porter will be lower owned. I don't know if any of that really affects Bullock, though, Dinwiddie or Brunson playing. You're just talking about a catch and shoot guy who's going to be on the court for a million minutes.
Who do you like more, Anunoby or Aaron Gordon?
Anunoby, I mean, Aaron Gordon for ownership, I guess, but I think Anunoby is a significantly better play. God, my every lineup I build keeps forcing me with 5,800 left, and they're Anunoby already lineups in the forward spot, and I keep having to use Bogdanovich. I really, really wish that we could use what's his name as a forward tonight, Will Barton. Really frustrating.
How about Draymond?
I do like Draymond. I'm just having a very hard time from getting away from my four guards.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I just want to point out one thing about Harden. So obviously guys in the postseason play more minutes than they do in the regular season and all that stuff. Then the better players get more usage and all these things. Harden for the season, obviously there were some different situations he was in, but again, they all had studs on them he was playing alongside. This guy averages 51 fantasy points a game for the season, and he's 9,300, and I can't just quite get that out of my head now. But you could say the same thing for Jokic and Embiid as well. But I just feel like that Harden can get 60 probably a little easier than those guys can get 80, and it allows me to have the flexibility to not have to go too far dumpster diving. Steph definitely looks like he's limited. I've got him projected on multiple sites at 28 minutes. I also, if we're playing Steph, let's take a look at it. Okay, because think about Steph versus Harden straight up. Steph doesn't even score as much as Harden anyway, fantasy wise, not even close. So playing him over Harden is sort of like, what are we doing to me?
Right.
But at no ownership, sure. The reason he's got no ownership is because he's projected to score 30 fantasy points and he costs 9,100. And are they going to, they may not start him again. It's just weird, but they didn't last time, right? Jordan Poole is definitely doing his best Steph impersonation. Yeah, that's because they got blown out. That's Jason Dixon saying not Jokic. No, but that's not the same thing. You can't take a team that loses by 20 some odd points and getting crushed and expect that to be the same. Say that, he didn't play minutes that game. It's not like he was being limited for any reason. They were going to play him every minute that they could in a close game. They just couldn't get there. Right. And to some extent, they did run him a little bit, which got him in trouble. Let me just see something really quick about Jokic, though. And he had the foul trouble also. Yeah, that's why he didn't play. That's why he missed that other rotation. That's completely why.
How much Mitchell are you getting on DraftKings? Anything?
I like him, but I'm not getting to him, to be honest with you. I would rather play Harden.
Okay.
And I don't have any more guard spots, so I can't even play Barton, who I like a lot. I do think you can make. I mean, I'm playing the Dinwiddie Brunson thing, but I think there is an argument to maybe fade one of them. Probably be Dinwiddie for me, but I could see an argument for either one. I'm not doing it. If Gary Trent is ruled in, all of these guys on Toronto lose a little bit of luster for sure. But I mean, being announced as doubtful, I'm going to treat it as a doubtful.
Yeah.
And then, you're late. What's your favorite value on DK? I don't even know what sport you're talking about. So that's a tough question to answer. But if you tell me, I'll do my best. And give me an idea of what you mean by value too. Like, do you mean just a good price for like a 5K guy, or do you mean like what's the cheapest guy I can play? All right.
I don't know what to do with Dorian Finney-Smith. That's my current dilemma.
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't think you should worry terribly about not playing him, if that helps at all.
Right. No, I get that.
I feel about Bullock too, but then again, one of these guys comes out, hits 7 threes. It's totally possible. If you're on the court for 44 minutes. I mean, Bullock played 44 minutes. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have to work too hard. I mean,
yeah. All right, guys. I'm going to ask you one more time, if you don't mind, hitting the like button for any of you guys who are left, and please remember to sign up for the roundtable discussion / the lineup review / coaching session, and which means just basically DMing me on our Discord channel right now, which I know that everybody has, but in case anybody doesn't have it left, I'm going to make sure that they do. Where is it? There we go. And let's see, we'll go from there.
We'll play these guys.
You know the story of my baseball season's been so far this year. I losing the big buy-ins, all of my secondary lineups like top 10. Like,
oh, really?
I just keep making the wrong. I mean, I keep just making the pivots that are killing me. Hopefully it evens out sometime. I saw that you had a good MMA Saturday, huh?
I did.
Nice. That's great.
I did.
I think I might have to try and mix my lineup up just to get Nola into my main build. If I really want to do that.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean,
tell you what,
it's tough. I mean, you have it's not like there's no one else with strikeout upside on the slate,
right. He just has the best, and he's the lowest owned. So it seems like a pretty logical way to go. And these Philly bats, it's not like you're looking at these guys going, "Oh my God, I get to play Matt Vierling."
Right. Yay. That's right.
Celebrate. But Stott is the guy I definitely have interest in. It's just weird because all these Philly guys, they also play the same positions, and like they don't have a shortstop. It's just a really strange trying to fit them into a stack.
Yeah, in my big buy, and I got one guy from the Philly game. That's what I got.
One from the Philly game.
There's one guy.
Ooh, I love when you just only have one. That's great.
Just one.
That's exciting. My main is a 4-3-1, by the way, today.
Oh, I like that.
It's a little bit of a weird slate, right? Like we should be
4-3-1. That's like very, very stacky of you, huh?
No, I do that. I don't play like 4 different play. I don't play like the thing like everybody different. I like to get correlation. I got
a 5-2-1. That's what I got.
That sounds like you. That sounds like what your thing would be.
Yeah.
It's always weird though, these things. Then they all make perfect sense and it looks all great. And then like,
And then Tampa starts out the slate with 3 straight home runs. It's like,
right. In impossible conditions that they might not even play in. Like, you're just like, well, okay, I guess that's baseball. All right, let's see what else we got here.
And then there's other times when you put up a number, you just need that Colorado game to fade, and it's like 4-4 after the first. You're like, oh crap!
Right, right, exactly. Start. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, 4-3-1. Really, really, really wish I could have got. I can't quite get it. Can't. So close to Justin Turner and can't quite get to him.
I thought of that. He's so cheap.
Oh, Justin Turner's great. I know he's a great player. Like great play off the Philly, but then I could play Edwin Rios though instead at 2,100 even get it even cheaper.
Well, hold on. What
the Dodgers all play the same positions too. That's why it's been so hard for me to see.
What position is Rios?
First base, third base.
Well, if I did that,
you know what that means for my lineup sheets. You know what I always say.
Playing both.
No, I always if I play Rios, there's no way I'm not playing him with Muncy, who's also first and third base eligible, or Freeman, because that means, you know what I mean? You have to make a choice, right? Instead of making a choice, you're just playing both. Yeah. I would love to get more Dodgers into that and maybe go heavier there instead of the Phillies. I think that's probably the better way to play this. Yeah, it is. It's just the shortstop position, honestly, outside of Trey Turner, just sucks today. And I guess Willie Adames.
I could either play Narvaez at catcher and then have Segura be my one-off, or I could play Rio Muto at catcher as my one-off and then drop down to somebody else at second base. The Rios character, you're starting to get me involved here with this. Oh, and then I could play him, right? Oh, no. You could play Rios Lux 8-9, can't you?
You could play, yeah. Okay, 7th inning stretch. That's the one.
All right, I have an announcement to make.
What is it?
I'm not giving my lineup away, but Aaron Nola is in my big buy-in. That's the end of that.
Are me and you going to be the two whose lineup is in the big one?
You and me both. That's it.
It's me and you. I just did it too. I can't believe I did it, but I'm going with it. Probably should be Nola and Kershaw for what it's worth, just to go for the ultimate upside. But I actually think these other guys. I actually think Montas has like just crazy upside too today.
That's my thing. Is Nola Montas. That's my.
Yeah, I like it. All right. Any other questions, guys? Pop them on in, and before we get out of here, I will jump on in and take one more quick look.
Dude, I like this. I'm into it. Very, very happy with this now.
Mania, that's what I want to do.
And now we're going for full correlation, because I not only do I have Nola, but I have nobody from that game in my big buy. Thank you, except for Nola. Thank you.
Nobody from which game sheets?
From the Philly game, and no hitters.
Oh wow, you're just going for it. I love it.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, why not? This is baseball.
Baseball.
Chad Cool.
4-4 after first.
You can't be. Look, you don't want to mess around with and try and play against guys against Chad Cool.
Exactly. Don't mess with Chad Cool. He's got tricks.
He's got tricks. Your favorite expression of all time. Doesn't matter if they have no tricks. You just they got tricks.
We got tricks. Got scratched today, right? Bumgarner.
Yeah.
Bumgarner got scratched.
Yeah. Let's see. I just got one more thing before I keep going here, and then
just so you guys know, I did update the hockey thing. Hockey is a later start. It's not till 8 o'clock, but I did update the hockey stuff. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna have any content for the golf this week.
I might throw something out there, but you guys, if you want it, I'll do it. So just let me know, and I'll put it
Yeah,
together.
exactly. I could come up with a guy who could almost win the tournament.
Tobias as a low-owned play. Yeah, I like that play. I don't understand exactly why his projection is 30 fantasy points. I think it should be much higher. I don't expect him to play as well as he did in game one, but I love that play. So I think that's another way. Like I mentioned the Siakam and Harden thing on a lower level, like you have the Tobias and Draymond, where maybe you get the right game and you get 40 plus out of both those guys, and then you're cruising. So I do like that Tobias play, and I especially like it if you're going to try something like that with Draymond and get some low ownership there. 7 home games for Rocky. So far, nobody's put up 10 runs. The crazy thing is, though, you don't need that many runs to win with a stack. But that's true. I mean, that's a fair point.
Yep.
Trent upgraded to a Q tag. Ooh, okay, that's going to change things around. So I'm going to wait to do my basketball. I'll be in Discord, guys.
Wait, what does that mean to the average man?
It means that Anunoby is not quite as good of a play. It means that all of the bigs are not quite as good of plays. It just basically means that they have another guy who's going to play like 40 minutes who's going to play. I think he's probably going to play. And I actually think if he plays, he's probably a good play. Let's see. Wait, he doesn't have the forward eligibility though. Oh, he does. No, he is the play then, because there's a great pivot off of Bogdanovich and Anunoby.
And that's the first game.
It also takes a knock to Van Vliet. That's the first game. So we will know.
So I'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah, so you probably will play.
All right. So I will, just so you guys know, I will update all the projections before 7:15. Okay, that should be enough time for people to upgrade, Trent in their numbers, and also enough time for you guys to get the lineups in. That's probably a good time to aim for.
Yep.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to eat before that. So I'm going to run.
All right. Well, good luck to everybody tonight. And I'll be in Discord the rest of the night. So just let me know if you have any questions or thoughts. Good luck, everybody. Good luck, Sheets.